The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits, so get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Stephen Sharp, and Stephen is the Executive Director of Food from the Heart. Welcome, Stephen.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh gosh, you folks are doing such important work in our community.
Yeah, it really is a special mission.
Yeah, so please tell us all about what you're doing and how you started and all that.
Yeah, it's actually how we started is kind of an interesting story. It was 28 years ago.
Gosh.
And I was actually working at the AIDS Project here in Santa Barbara. Working in every capacity, and we had just opened up a food pantry for clients of ours to come in and shop. And a woman came in. She had founded the New York Bagel Factory here in Santa Barbara, she and her then husband, and they had sold it. And she said, I have time on my hands now, and I would like to cook meals for your patients, your AIDS clients. So she started cooking out of her home bringing them to us, and we had a big refrigerator in the food pantry, and she would just put them in the refrigerator, and then our clients, when they came, could take a fresh prepared meal home with them.
Wow.
And it just little by little she grew. She started using commercial kitchens where she could find them. And then, of course, the AIDS population transitioned when the medications kicked in.
Sure.
And so then she decided to actually make the focus on individuals who are battling an illness or recovering from major surgery and live alone.
Oh.
So they're all low income, very low income, most of them, and they live alone, and they are basically homebound. They don't get around much because they're very ill or they're recovering from some sort of really significant surgery. So we ensure that they are well fed, and we also believe that we help them manage other expenses such as their medications, their rent. They don't have to worry about their food bill as much because we prepare enough food to last them for a good 5 days.
Oh, really?
Prepared meals. It's as if you called a restaurant and ordered 8 things off of the menu.
Yeah. So is that your main focus, your clientele, people who are by themselves and recovering?
Yes, yeah, recovering or battling an illness of some sort. So that is and they're all low income, that is our singular focus, is low income individuals who are housebound, homebound, live alone, and are managing a major illness.
So how do they find out about you?
We get a lot of referrals from other agencies. So places like Hospice of Santa Barbara, Cottage Health, the Cancer Center knows about us.
Of course.
So we're constantly having social workers calling us saying, we have a client here, a patient here who we think is a good candidate for you, or we have an elderly woman who lives alone and just broke her hip, and she's going to be needing help for maybe a month until she gets back on her feet. And so that would be an example. We also get private doctors who call us. And believe it or not, because we work with low income, places like the Housing Authority might call us and say, we have someone living in one of our units or complexes, and they are having an issue. They're battling an illness or needing some support nutritionally. So that would be another example of how. And then, of course, people learn about us and will say, my neighbor has been getting food from you, and I am dealing with an issue right now and wonder if I could receive food for maybe 3 weeks.
And so is there a charge?
No charge. It's free of charge to all of the people that we feed.
Wow.
And it's 156 a week.
156
bags of food
that you prepare
that we
each week.
prepare and deliver. So we have 2 part-time staff.
Oh golly.
And just that's it. And then we have a roster of about 120 active volunteers.
Gosh.
And So in any given day, we prepare Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning. And I was just counting last week. Tuesday we had 21 people helping, volunteers, and Wednesday we had 18. So the numbers are very much around that quantity every week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then we have separate volunteers who are our drivers, who show up Wednesday around 11 a.m. And pick up their route. And so they always have the same route. And so they come in and pick up 8 bags because they know that's their route. And we have a volunteer who's our board treasurer, Kathy. And believe it or not, Kathy is actually our client referral person and our driver coordinator.
Wow.
As a volunteer, we have a phone number, and that phone goes direct to Kathy's cell phone. So she answers every call for Food from the Heart as a volunteer. And then when we have someone call and ask to be a client, Kathy will talk to them. We have a form, we fill out a qualification form. And then we have a really interesting system where Kathy sends all the drivers with their bags, and she generally has an idea how many extra bags she'll have that week, 4, maybe 5, but she always waits till they're all gone, all out. And then she calls up these new potential clients and says, hey, I've got a bag this week, can I take it over to you? So every single client is visited by Kathy first before entering our program. And she can tell, if someone is actually not needing our services quite as much. She may go to someone's house and it's obvious there are 3 people living there, and she just, we don't feel that's quite the reason. If they have other support people living with them, that's really not exactly how we do this. So every client is visited by Kathy, and then if she feels they qualify, which most often they do, she will assign them to one of the drivers. And then when the driver comes that next week, she says, oh, I know you had 8 bags, but I have a new client for you. Here's their information, their address. And so every driver has a very specific section of town, the east side, the west side, downtown, and that's how we do it. And so it's 156 per week, and that's how we know every week it's exactly 156, because Kathy always has a few extras, and then she handles delivering those. So it's never more or less than exactly 156 bags.
So give me an example of what goes into a typical bag.
Yeah. So we do an entree, and the entree consists of a protein, usually a starch, and vegetables. So we might do chicken piccata over some pasta, and then some really nice green, maybe some broccoli and carrots. So they get this entree, and then they also get a casserole. We make a casserole it's about that big, half of a sheet of a 9 by 13, and mac and cheese would be one we would make, or a pasta primavera, something like that. So a nice casserole, and then we also hand make soup. So we do a fairly large container of soup for them, fresh soup, and we do a fresh green salad. And with everything we do, it's important that it look really attractive, as if you got it from a fine restaurant, because our clients have diminished appetites often. So we like them to see it and say, wow, that looks really delicious. So it's a big priority for us to make sure the food looks beautiful when it's presented to them. And then we also do a cold deli style salad, maybe a bean salad, a 5-bean salad or something like that. And then we do a little dessert cake. We have a little loaf cake that we make every week. We have a volunteer, Judy, who hand makes the cakes every week, 156 cakes. And same with our salad dressing. Our volunteer, Anne, every Tuesday makes a different salad dressing. We don't buy big containers of it and then pour it in. She always makes it fresh every week. So the cake, and then we include a bag of fruit and a bag of bread, of rolls.
All right, so then where do you typically get your food to cook?
Most of it we do actually purchase. We have an account with Giordano's, a local company, and also Pacific Produce. So we receive the bulk of it through them. We have to buy it in bulk. When we can, we get staples from the food bank. They'll let us know, we have a lot of eggs right now, so we'll go get 30 dozen eggs that'll last us for a few weeks. And then we do get some donations. There's a wholesale bread company out in Goleta called Ethnic Breads, and they donate bread rolls and things to us every
Nice.
week. And then Vaughn's out in Goleta also will donate what is maybe nearing expiration date, and they need to remove it from the shelf. And so every week we get 4 or 5 boxes of pastries and other goodies from Vaughn's that we do as an add-on to our client bags.
Wow.
So
That and you have a commercial kitchen you're still
we
using.
do, yeah. It's the Trinity Lutheran Church at the corner of Foothill and La Cumbra. They have a very large fellowship hall and actually a really nice commercial kitchen. And several years ago, we invested in a walk-in refrigerator and a walk-in freezer that the church allowed us to install just
That's a
off the
big
back
investment.
of that. Yeah. And so now we used to have to store it in multiple places and every week go grab all of our supplies
Yeah.
at various other kitchens, churches. But now we can keep everything ourselves, and the freezer is invaluable because we had the commercial fisherman of Santa Barbara was donating fish to us during the pandemic. I believe they got a grant from FEMA or something like that, and so we were getting 80 pounds of fillet of sole or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we were able to put it in the freezer until we could use
Yeah.
it maybe 2 weeks later when our menu was built around it. So.
Wow. So you mentioned the pandemic. So how did that impact you?
Yeah, so we're 28 years old, and in the 28 years, we've never missed a week because we know how important it is to our clients.
Yeah.
So it's even if something really difficult comes up, we find a way to make sure that we can prepare the bags of food. And so during the pandemic, what we did is we actually are very fortunate that we have a large space. So we were able to put each volunteer at their own table, 6 feet apart. And actually, health department regulations mandate that everyone washes their hands when they arrive and wears gloves and an apron. And then between tasks, you have to take off your disposable gloves, rewash your hands, and put on new gloves.
Oh, wow.
For fear of cross-contamination.
Sure.
And this literally means if you're chopping potatoes and then going to carrots, you still have to go wash your hands,
Wow.
put on new gloves. And so we mandated masks. Everyone worked at their own dedicated 60-inch round table. And so we had social distancing and masks. And we also made absolutely certain that our volunteers knew that if they were not comfortable coming in, do not come in. That was not an issue for us.
Yeah.
So we ended up with actually a pretty good core pared down team. We scaled back. I think we eliminated the casserole for about 4 months when we first were getting going because we weren't sure we had the human capacity to handle what we were doing before with 18 to 20 volunteers in there every day. So.
Yeah.
But we managed it actually really, really well. Never stopped.
Good for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So this woman that you were telling us about earlier who started cooking and found a commercial kitchen and I don't know, is she the founder?
Yes, Evelyn Jacob is the founder.
Okay.
That's Evelyn is our founder, and she does come in still every week and visits us. And if we're shorthanded, she'll jump in and help. So we usually see her at least once a week to come in and check in and see how things are going. So
That is great.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Good for her.
We're really lucky that she's here and active and just fantastic.
Oh, man. So let's see. If somebody wants to volunteer, let's say they're watching this and they say, oh, that sounds like something I'd like to volunteer for. They can go on your website and find out how to do that. Tell us about your volunteers.
Yeah, with the pandemic, we removed the option to help prepare food as a volunteer. You won't see that on our website.
Okay.
But people can, the best thing to do is to either email us, there's a link on our website,
Okay.
to send us an email, or call us. And then what can happen is, what we do is on Tuesday mornings, I meet with the new volunteer, give them an orientation, give them a brief tour. It takes literally 10 to 15 minutes, and then they roll up their sleeves and get going. It's
Wow.
it doesn't require a huge orientation.
Okay.
And one of the most wonderful things about Food from the Heart is that if you can't come on a certain day, it really doesn't matter. Just don't show up. If you have to leave early, you leave early. It's not a system where you have to sign in advance. I'm going to be there this day and that day. No, we don't. It's literally drop in when you can, help when you can. It's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 8 till about 11 or 12. And so it's truly a very casual, easy environment, and everyone knows how to chop carrots or cut up string beans, green beans or whatever. So what they're doing is not rocket science either. And it's just a matter of me making sure they know to put new gloves on between tasks. Don't reuse the chopping boards or the knives. Go get new ones between each task. All these rules that are basically mandated by the health department.
Right.
And that we follow very carefully.
Good for you. So I would imagine, really, even somebody in a wheelchair might be able to help.
Oh yeah, and in fact, we have a board member who is in a wheelchair who comes in, and we have absolutely, the church is fully accessible.
Oh, good.
And then we would set this person up on probably a lower table. But we have another volunteer who really can't move around, but she comes in and sits at a very specific table and does her thing every single day, every single Wednesday. Okay. She repackages the donations from Vons as one of her, her tasks. And then she we make a menu for our clients every week, and they're so fun with the most clever cartoons. And we do have some samples on our website, but they're really fun. They're funny, and we just think for our clients to get, a list of what's in the meal. So if they have any allergies, they know to avoid that in each item. And then we fill it in with cartoons. We have a volunteer, Gretchen, who puts it together every single week.
Oh, man.
For us.
I think it's so wonderful that you treat your clients with such dignity. And I bet some of them may not have experienced that before.
Yeah, it's really is a tenet of ours, is to. And the other thing that's really important to note about for us is that, again, most of our clients are living alone. They don't have family nearby, but they know they're going to see their driver every single week. Yeah. And they don't often see a lot of other people because they're home ill. And then our driver is sort of a connection with, how are you doing this week? Do you need anything? And then they'll get back to Kathy, our volunteer client coordinator, and let her know. Or they may stop in on a Wednesday when they're picking up their route and say, hey, Kathy, so-and-so at such and such address doesn't seem to be doing really well, and I just want you to know. And if Kathy is concerned, she'll call the person. We have the contact of their primary family.
Okay.
So if we ever have a concern, we can call their family and say, we're concerned about your mother, and you may want to check in and see how she's doing. And so we're constantly the eyes for not only the client, but also for their other loved ones, to know that their loved one is okay, is being cared for. Of course, they have usually a social worker and their medical professionals, but we're just another pair of eyes to check in on them.
That is wonderful.
And to reassure the family that every week, guaranteed, another set of eyes is going to make sure their loved one is
That's
okay.
important.
Yeah.
So Food from the Heart is a 501c3 nonprofit. A person can make a tax-deductible donation.
Yeah, every donation is 100% tax deductible. And we have some fun little things like that happen too. We have the Quilters Guild, I think it's called.
Yeah.
They, at the start of the pandemic, handmade masks, and we gave all of our clients a handmade mask. They're now finishing up placemats, and we're going to give all of our clients handmade placemats.
That is sweet.
So there are other things like that. Again, it's 156 bags, but we have a volunteer, Anne, who for every major holiday finds some clever container and then packages it with little candies or some little treat, and we add that to the bag. And she's been having all of our volunteers collect toilet paper rolls, because she's going to make out of the toilet paper rolls little firecrackers for the 4th of July and stuff little candies, Hershey's Kisses or something in them.
Yeah.
So that'll be, and they're so clever and so wonderful, and it's just nice on a holiday to get something special. And the other thing we have is, for example, the Assistance League is now sponsoring some of our entrees. So every holiday, they pay for the protein for the entree. So for Easter, they paid for the ham. Thanksgiving, the turkey. Just Memorial Day, they paid for our ribs. We did barbecued ribs. And then they'll do 4th of July. I'm not sure what our entree will be, but they're going to fund the cost of the entree, the
That
main
is
protein, which is
great.
somewhere between $400 and $600. And I always let people know that, because that's something else someone can say, can I sponsor your entree for the week? Even
Yeah.
a small business could do
Yeah,
that. We
yeah,
put
yeah.
their logo on our menu.
That's a great
and
idea.
They can literally sponsor the cost of the meat to prepare that week's entree.
Gosh.
And we send them the invoice, and they literally just make
Yeah.
the donation based on exactly what we paid for the cost of that meat or that fish.
So any donor can do that.
Beautifully, yeah. It's a really fun way to do it, because they get. Then I'll send them a copy of the menu. They get to see
Oh,
what
gosh.
we made with their donation. And again, it's just a $400 to $600 donation.
Yeah.
It's not major donation, but it enables us to do something special.
Stephen, thank you so much for all of your great work and for being on our show to tell us all about it.
It's been a joy and a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.